Part 2 of Episode 1 of ABR TV is brought to you by the Augusta Basketball Report at augustabasketball.com. Welcome to Part 2 of Episode 1 of ABR TV. During this part of Episode 1, we will discuss Ahed Hill, JT Gant, Elijah Staley, and one of the most exciting games of the year for the Southern Stampede versus Team Takeover, 16 and under's #1 ranked team in the nation. And if you missed Part 1 of Episode 1, you can click here. And if you'd like to go forward to Part 3 of Episode 1, where we discuss the Southern Stampede guards, you can click here as well. You know, we mentioned you were the 6th ranked team in the country by 5starbasketball.com. And, you know, I looked through those rankings and I see the #1 ranked team in the country, Team Takeover, I guess it's called Karan Butler Team Takeover. And they're the #1 ranked team, and you took them to overtime in Virginia. And that was a heck of a game, and we're actually going to show some footage from that game later. How did that game hit you and your players? Was it like, oh, we belong now because we, you know, went to the wire with the best team in the country, or was it, man, we want to get another shot at those guys so we can prove that, you know, we're as good as anybody?
Yeah. Funny that you mentioned that. The first game we played in that tournament was Texas Titans, and at that time they were ranked #1 in the country, and I think we were 23rd. And we had a chance to beat those guys and lost by 2. Our kids were on the stage, and you know Kentucky was there, Calipari was there, and some big time coaches. So you know, we came out nervous. Even I was a little nervous for those guys, and we had a chance to win that game. And then actually, you know, we played Team Takeover at 8 o'clock in the morning. And they are really, really good. I mean, I thought they were a little bit better than Texas Titans. Really, really talented, had size. We came out up 18 against those guys. Bad coaching, lose the lead, get into overtime, and that gave our kids some confidence again. Like, okay, if these guys are the best, then we have a chance, you know, to beat those guys the next time we face them. And as Ricky Moore let me know, we got to take care of home field advantage. So we're at home, hopefully facing those guys again.
Right. Yeah, we'll have to get all the Augusta, what do I call them, Augusta basketballers out there to support you guys for that week, for sure. All right, so let's talk about the team's players. I'm going to start with a guy who plays high school basketball and attends high school here in Augusta, Georgia, and he attends Aquinas, and his name's Ahed Hill. He's a 6'4" 2 guard. You know, this is my opinion. You know, he's kind of like an amazing athlete, really, really good shooter. You know, even maybe close to a pure shooter. You know, he attacks the basket. He's an aggressive player. You know, let's start with him. You know, I just gave the little summary of what I think. You know, what do you think of when you think of Ahed?
All the things that you just mentioned, but the one thing that's so glaring that people don't see is how hard Ahed works on this game. I'm overly critical on Ahed because I can't tell him how good he is because therefore he's not going to get better.
Right.
You're only as good to me as your weaknesses. And, you know, he accepts everything that, you know, I say, and, you know, he goes to the gym and works his butt off. And I work, you know, he's doing the Rocky Balboa workout, running heels with a weight vest on and strength shoes. He's in the gym getting up 300 or 400 shots. You know, he's addressing, you know, ball handling issues or whatever, you know, I throw out in front of him. But I think one thing that you always hear coaches talking about how good a kid is, this kid is a great kid on and off the basketball court. That's the shining thing that I say about him, man.
Yeah, I agree. He really is. And he does work his butt off. He had a great season at Aquinas. And he plays the 2 guard. And I think you were telling me recently that as a freshman, he was a sophomore this past season, as a freshman for his high school basketball team, he played in the post.
Yeah, he played the 4.
Yeah, and so, you know, people might look at him and say, well, you know, maybe he can dribble a little better or something like that. But you know, it's pretty understandable when you talk about a guy going from the post to the 2 guard. being asked to shoot the ball from the perimeter, handle it, distribute it, and with you guys, do it against the best players in the country. One of the things when you said that he needs to work on certain things, it's interesting. I thought about the fact that playing with your team against the kind of competition that you play against must be invaluable for him, because if he was just hanging around Augusta and, kind of having his way with the competition all the time, then you could tell him that, but, he wouldn't see it. He wouldn't know, man, there's a guy in every state that can do the things I can do. So it's really about what I do from here forward as far as improvement. You think that's one of the benefits of a kid like that playing on a team like yours?
Oh, yeah, certainly. He's facing guys that he has to defend day in and day out that is just as athletic as him. Once we compete against the Nike teams in the top 5 or the top 10 or whoever we're competing against, just as athletic as Ahed. So therefore, you got to be a little bit better, a little bit shifty. Basketball IQ's got to be high when you're playing against those guys who are just as athletic. But within high school basketball, most kids are not going to stay in front of him. Most kids are not going to make him do what he can't do. So you're exactly right on that. On our level, guys are just as athletic and just as good.
Yeah, that's right. The next thing that I go to when I look at your team is these wing players that you have. I don't know if you call them 2s or 3s or forwards or what, but JT Gant and Elijah Staley are kind of amazing in the fact that their height and their skill level and their athletic ability, and and they seem to be very good kids as well. So we're showing a clip now of how dynamic they are. You see JT or JT Gant block a shot, and then Elijah Staley fills the lane and finishes off with a dunk, and having these two guys that can do so many different things, I think is just one of the special things about one of these teams that is as good as yours. So let's start with JT. You mentioned the fact that he was kind of the first player that came to you that was from outside of the area, a tall kid, and the thing that stands out to me about him is how skilled he is, how good his footwork is, how good his touch is on a little right-handed jump hook or the mid-range jump shot. But you tell me, what do you think of when you think of JT?
JT is special. He's the glue to our team. Actually, he's the kid that we can't win big games without him. And I love everything that he does because he can do a little bit of everything. He's a sponge. Whatever you show him, he's able to apply it in a game. It's like automatically a day before that you just said, oh, JT, we need to do this, this, and this. He can apply it in the game. It's hard for teams to press us, because he can bring the ball up. He did a great job of that against the team from Chicago that did a lot of pressing. He blocks shots. He run the court. He can make the three. He can, pass the ball. So he's a kid that's very close to playing a position that I think he can play on the next level, which is the 3. Right now, he's our 3-4 hybrid kid, but, he does so many things for our team. And like I tell everybody, he's the glue to our squad.
Yeah, he's very impressive. And then Elijah Staley, I guess he would be, besides some of these guys that you just recently picked up, as far as this season, he was the new guy, as far as I could tell, that just really stepped on the scene and made a huge impact. And JT's about 6'7", and Elijah's maybe 6'8". Is that about right?
Yeah, well, actually, it's the other way around. JT was measured 2 weeks ago at 6'8", and Elijah was measured at 6'7". Okay. I don't know if JT was standing on his tiptoes when he got measured or what, but, they measured him at 6'8".
Right. And now Elijah, and JT's a good athlete, but Elijah maybe has just even a little more spring and a little more speed and bounce and things like that. And he's also a good shooter, good dribbler. Well, talk a little bit about him.
Well, we added Elijah. He played for Georgia Stars last year. We needed him because, as I noticed, all the top teams that were 15 under, they all had big guards or big 3-man that was about 6'5", 6'6", and we didn't have anybody on our team that can defend those guys day in and day out. I knew Elijah wasn't happy with the Georgia Stars, and I thought he was a great athlete, and he could shoot the basketball also. And he's now buying into what we're trying to do to win games. When we first started, in March, he wasn't buying in, and I had to convince our kids that he was used to playing in a a losing situation, a losing environment, that he didn't trust his teammates. But now he's buying in and trusting the teammates, meaning he's wanting to make the extra pass, wanting to help out on defense, and all the gritty things that we need a guy like him to do. He's starting to do it for us. But he's probably one of the best athletes we have on the team, being able to guard a 1, 2, or 3, and a 4. So that helps us so much.
Yeah, I can tell. Thank you for watching Part 2 of Episode 1 of ABR TV. If you'd like to watch Part 1 or go ahead to Part 3, you can click here now.